Hello all, today I would like to present you with my new Go book. Not the book itself, but its project, because it's written in Portuguese, the book. The project is written in English mainly, the code at least. This introduction isn't, but the code is. And it's all written in TeX or LaTeX. It's a programmatic way of writing Go books. All the diagrams are vector diagrams. They won't get pixelated. The diagrams in the end are very high quality looking. I think it's comparable to the Japanese or Asian Go books at this point. I could have written it with, for example, InDesign from Adobe. Perhaps the result would be equivalent or maybe even better, I don't know. But it wouldn't be programmatic or open source, and you guys wouldn't have access to it. Maybe in the future I'll try it, but through programming, I can go, I think, a little bit further and also create parsers for SGFs. Through this project, I've created a package or yeah, a folder in this case, but through this package or folder, you can create an environment inside LaTeX and parse SGF files, which helps a lot in creating diagrams and organizing your whole project more easily. This is also similar to a book translation I did some years ago. It's also written in LaTeX. However, it's not as programmatic. It's a little bit more brute force, I think. And I used the software GoWrite too to create the diagrams. It was not entirely done through LaTeX. In this way, it's a little bit more elegant and more flexible as well, because you guys can edit the code. There are more possibilities in the end. My new book is supposed to be a reference of patterns and techniques, and this problem turns out to be a very interesting one. And at first, it might look like a beginner's problem, but we'll see that there is much more depth to it. Problem actually starts after my student plays one. He was probably expecting me to maybe extend, and if I extend, it's not really that bad a move. He probably loses 2 to 3 points, but it gives an opportunity to white, an opportunity to stabilize itself. For example, if you connect, you already have a resilient shape. But better yet, you could just go down, and now you have a slightly bigger base, and you can invade at the 3-3 later, maybe, or just jump into the corner. This would be a lost opportunity for black. The correct move, and the move I played in the game, was to cut, and now white has basically two options. The first one is not great, being either to Atari here or Atari here, and both will give a Panuki to black in the corner, and this pretty much cleans up any hope for invading the corner, and it doesn't strengthen white shape on the outside that much. This Atari seems a little bit better because you can maybe back off here if you have the ladder right. It would be better for white to go down here and extend the sacrifice. We go from 1 liberty to 3. That's much better. But that doesn't mean it's not a disaster. And black's next move will explain to white why that's not a very good move. It would have been much better for white to just back off if white wants to save this group or save this tone. But anyways, going back to what happens after this Atari, white needs to extend the sacrifice, and if you just continue the capture here, white will be able to get a free Atari from the outside and extend back. In some situations, you might want to cut here, not cut here, but connect here. Maybe this one is actually more generalizable, or the one you would like to play more often. But anyways, black got squeezed a bit here, and there isn't even any hope for example, trying to reduce the side or jump out because white can wedge here. You cannot really connect. The only good move here after white drops with free is actually to do this Atari. You can't do this, right? Because otherwise they're gonna get captured. But this Atari actually works, and white cannot afford to give you a Ponuki on the outside. That's too strong. And this group isn't safe anyways. Yeah, white can still extend and get a base, but this Ponuki is just too much almost always. Maybe if white has a ton of stones around here, then you could justify giving out a Ponuki because now the corner is still open and maybe you can counterattack this whole shape, but this is a very specific situation. You wouldn't want to give out a Ponuki here. It's actually better to go out first and let yourself get a cut through Keima. So a broken Keima around here. This is a disaster, but if you analyze it with AI, you're going to be surprised to see that there are some things you can do still. And maybe if you're not paying attention, this might turn out to be a bad result for you as black, even. White should continue here. If black tries to protect the corner, he can, and it's a very good move, but not the best, and it's bound to get squeezed a bit, at least. White can turn and exploit the peeps around black's shape. So there's this peep, and this is not actually a peep, it's a clamp, but it works similarly. There's also this peep, and the one AI will recommend is this one. Black will try to cut. After white peeps here, black needs to connect. Actually, there are some variations where you connect here and let white uh, connect there and get a clump. I think in this case, since you get an Atari here, maybe not. But depending on how white starts, you could consider going through instead of connecting. Anyways, in this sequence, it's better for you to connect. White will cut here. Black will prefer cutting through here. And now you got squeezed, right? So white can play around here and get a wall, more or less a wall on the outside. If white plays 7, the actual best move for black might be this one to avoid that squeeze. So in the previous variation, after black plays the Keima, you can peep here and cut. And now instead of connecting, black can go through here because of 8. So that's why 8 is so powerful. But white can try to steal the corner from here if black plays 8. The locally one of the best moves, at least. Black will push, white harness here, and now black doesn't have an option. He needs to go back, otherwise white will live in the corner in a big fashion. White Ataris, and now white is free to defend the top. White stole half the corner, basically, or maybe even more. It's difficult to be too sad for white, but it's still a good position for black. White invested a lot here, 3 stones already at the beginning of the game, and these other 3 stones, they don't do much either. It's a good result, very good result for black. It's black plus 5 more or less. That problem is very similar to this one, in which white pips here, and black is put into a dilemma. Does he connect or not? If you connect, that's the obvious move, and it's still very marginally better for black. Black gets you break a Keima, but on the other hand, black gets an empty triangle here. So it kind of balances out to be almost even. Black should be maybe 2 or 3 points ahead if he is able to play correctly. The answer is kind of surprising. We'll try to analyze it in a future video.